What's going on, Broncos Country? Welcome on into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, reacting to a very interesting article that The Athletic put out where they listed a handful of Justin Fields trade destinations, and the Denver Broncos were one of them. So I want to run through what The Athletic had to say, and then I'll give you my reaction to this potential trade. But Nick Kosmider from The Athletic, who covers the Broncos, wrote, after voicing frustration with Russell Wilson's inability to protect the football during key stretches last season, I don't see the Broncos giving up significant draft capital for a quarterback in Fields who, while younger and more athletic than Wilson, hasn't been able to fully address his ball security issues. And I agree with what Nick has to say here. Yes, the Broncos are in the market for a new quarterback, but I don't think it's going to be in Denver. I don't think it's a good fit with Sean Payton. Now, Sean Payton saw firsthand just how explosive Justin Fields can be. Rewind to week 3 when Denver was trailing 28-7 going into the third quarter. And what happened? Well, we saw Justin Fields in this Bears offense collapse. The Broncos put up a handful of points in the fourth and walked out of Soldier Field with a 31-28 victory. But in that game, Justin Fields, 335 yards, a career high at the time, 4 touchdowns, an interception, a costly one at the end of the game, and a fumble that was scooped up for 6 points, which helped pave the way for a very climactic Broncos comeback victory. But before that, Justin Fields was money for much of that game, and Sean Payton might have walked out of Chicago thinking, if I move on from Russell Wilson, Justin Fields could be a quarterback worth pursuing. Now, when we look at Justin Fields' career, through 3 seasons in Chicago, there have been some ups, there have been some downs. Maybe one thing that's been consistent, though, through 3 games is a little bit of a lack of availability, right? Has yet to play a full season. He's had some injuries throughout his career, which has caused him to miss some time. But what we can say for sure about Justin Fields is he's an athletic quarterback who's not afraid to tuck it and run to pick up the first down and then some extra yards. He's got great velocity on his passes. He can make all the throws you want downfield with accuracy. He just has to work on protecting the football, which has been a bit of a bugaboo for Sean Payton with Russell Wilson, along with not holding on to the ball too long. And that was something that really plagued Justin Fields last year in Chicago, where there were stretches where he didn't take what the defense gave him. He held on to the ball too long. That led to sacks, which sometimes leads to forced fumbles or bad decisions and bad throws. So tweak those things, and I think Justin Fields is going to be an awesome quarterback in this league. I just don't think it's going to be in Denver, right? I like Justin Fields as a passer, as a quarterback in this league. I think he has the tools to become a franchise quarterback for a team, but I don't think that team is going to be the Denver Broncos, right? I don't think they're in a spot to give up draft capital for Fields, which there's a little bit of an unknown element. I don't think he's a surefire thing. I'm okay with betting on Fields, but I don't think Sean Payton wants to bring Justin Fields into Sean Payton's offense that just spit up and chewed and, spat out Russell Wilson after Russell Wilson did not really comply with what Sean Payton looks for, which is a guy to stay in the pocket. That's not really Justin Fields' specialty. Now, if I had to cook up a trade idea for the Broncos to land Justin Fields, which, they could have done if they really wanted him a few drafts ago, but ultimately they made a very good decision in going with Patrick Surtain, you could argue. The Broncos don't have a second-round pick to offer this year, which is definitely something that's going to be an obstacle for Denver to land Fields if they really, really wanted him, because they're not giving up a first. So my best trade offer would be 2 third-round picks. The Broncos' third-round pick this year and their third-round pick next year. Now, the Bears are definitely going to get some offers, and I'm sure they'll take a second-rounder over a pair of thirds. But for now, would you do this trade? Let me know what your thoughts are when it comes to trading for Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is going to have a great career for another team. I think the Chicago Bears are making the smart decision by moving on from Fields and going with Caleb Williams, but I don't think Denver is the ultimate landing spot for Fields. Now, like I said, the Broncos were one of 5 destinations for Justin Fields listed by The Athletic. The other ones were the Atlanta Falcons, the Las Vegas Raiders, so definitely one to keep an eye on, because I, for one, do not want to face Justin Fields twice. You saw what happened the first time, which, yes, a couple turnovers in the fourth quarter were huge for a Broncos comeback, but before that, he was all over this Denver secondary. New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers were the other teams listed. Personally, I think Fields is a Falcon. He's from Atlanta area, so it almost feels just right that he'd go back to where he started his career off, playing at Athens for the Georgia Bulldogs. But I think Fields is a Falcon. It's a perfect fit there. As for the Broncos, Sean Payton, I don't think he's looking for another younger, just Russell Wilson-esque. I mean, they're not too similar in quarterback styles, honestly, but I think he's looking for a more Drew Brees-style quarterback, and that's not Justin Fields. All right, we have more to get to on today's show and talk other quarterbacks for just a moment. But really quickly, Game Time is sponsoring this edition of the Broncos Breakdown. So if you are looking for the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed, stop looking. You have found it. It is Game Time. Download the Game Time app if you want to go see an Avs game, a Nuggets game, or a Rockies game, and download the Game Time app and redeem code Broncos Chat for $20 off. Got to use that promo code Broncos Chat for $20 off. I like to say, before you even get to the arena, the venue, or the stadium, if you do this, Game Time is basically covering your parking, your first run to the concession stand, whatever it may be. So save some money while going to see your favorite teams, a concert, a comedy show, whatever it might be, when you use Game Time. Once again, Broncos Chat for $20 off. Terms apply, but I have put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Now, Nick Kosmider from The Athletic also added this to his article, and I thought it was very important, and I want to share with you guys. If the Broncos are going to move draft capital in a deal to acquire a quarterback, it is more likely to be a move for a rookie Payton can mold in his offense, even if that means the player has to sit a season behind Jarrett Stidham. So let's talk about the possibility of Denver going after a rookie quarterback, which is not a long shot by any stretch. And I ultimately don't believe Denver is going to find a trade partner in the top 3 of the draft. The Combine is when a lot of deals are made. That's when Russell Wilson was traded to the Broncos over a napkin at a steakhouse in Indianapolis between Schneider and George Payton. But if the Broncos are unable to find a trade partner, because it takes 2 to trade, in the top 3, and they don't think one of the top 3 quarterbacks in Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Jaden Daniels will come anywhere near them at pick number 12, I think they have 3 options. Let's run through the 3 options. Option number 1, you take a quarterback at pick number 12. If it's not going to be that first tier QBs, we're looking at the J.J. McCarthy tier, which he is currently headlining, followed by Michael Penix and Bo Nix. Now, we do this every single year in the offseason where we almost forget the entire football season we watched. And I remember in the fall being much more impressed by Michael Penix than J.J. McCarthy. But this is what we do in the offseason. To keep things interesting, the NFL gurus kind of start stirring the pot a little bit, going, we're hearing great things about J.J. McCarthy. And then all of a sudden you get the Will Levises of the world or the Malik Willises that don't go round 1 like we are told they will. McCarthy, though, he screams Sean Payton to me. I do think he is an excellent fit for what Sean Payton looks for in a quarterback, a guy that can protect the football, stand in the pocket, make the smart throws, and more importantly sometimes, the best throw is not the one you make, but it's the one you didn't make, right? It's not forcing the ball where it shouldn't go, but taking what the defense gives you underneath and living to see another down. I think that was something that Russell Wilson lacked last season, and that really frustrated Sean Payton. So that's option number 1. You go take one of those 3 quarterbacks at number 12. Option number 2, take best player available / biggest need at pick number 12. So let's say Denver comes out of their draft research thinking J.J., Bo Nix, and Michael Penix, they are not guys we want to use the 12th overall pick on. That's just way too big of a reach. Okay? There are lots of other great players you can use at pick number 12. 5 I have identified. Dallas Turner, the edge rusher from Alabama. Jared Verse, the edge rusher from Florida State. Terrion Arnold, the cornerback from Tuscaloosa. Nate Wiggins, the cornerback out of Clemson. And then Brock Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia. Not a guarantee that all 5 will be there at pick number 12, but there's a good chance 1 or 2 or 3 of them will be. So if you don't want to go with that second tier of quarterback at pick number 12, just play it safe. And it's not even really playing it safe. It's just taking what would be a great pick on the board, even if it's not at that sexy quarterback pick. And then there is option number 3, which is trade down from number 12. This is an option that I don't think has gotten a ton of airtime, but it probably should get some more airtime because Denver goes into this draft with what I have calculated to be 6 picks in the 2024 NFL draft. They've got their own first. They have a 3rd-round pick. Now, remember, they also acquired 1/3 from the Saints in the Sean Payton trade, but they used a 3rd to trade up to get Riley Moss last year. They have a 4th-rounder coming over after the Bradley Chubb trade, a 5th-rounder coming over from the Jacob Martin trade, their own 5th-round pick, and then a 6th-round pick they got in the Randy Gregory trade. No 7th because they traded one away. They traded one away for Will Lutz and another one away for Randy Gregory to get a 6th-rounder in return. Denver needs more day 2 draft picks. So if the Broncos don't feel like all their problems will be solved by picking a guy at pick number 12, don't be surprised if they shop that 12th overall pick, go from 12 to 16, 17, 18, fall back a couple of spots, and pick up a much-needed 2nd-round pick so they can have more than just one pick in day 2 of the draft. So of those 3 options, what is your favorite option for the Broncos at that 12th overall pick? Is it go QB at 12 no matter what, just take the number 1 quarterback on your board even if you feel like it's a reach? Is it take the best player at number 12? Maybe a quarterback, but may very well not be a quarterback. Could be an edge rusher, a corner, a tight end. I'm a big fan of Brock Bowers. Or is it trade down and stockpile some more picks? I do think sometimes fans are too quick to run to the trade back option. It's similar to trading up. If you want to trade down, you have to find someone to trade with. And this might be a draft where no other team is eager to move up to get a player. And also, I do think sometimes we are overconfident in teams' abilities to get great players with more picks. I think the draft is a spot where quality outweighs quantity. Personally, I would go with option number 2, which is go get the best player at pick number 12. The Broncos are not a quarterback away from being a playoff winning team. They've got some needs on this team. They need to beef up the interior of the defensive line. They need to add to that edge rusher rotation. They got to get another CB2 opposite of Patrick Surtain. So if you can satisfy one of those needs, I'm all for it. If you think there's a guy out there that can come in and be a legit starter day 1 with the 12th overall pick, don't mess around. Don't get cute with it thinking, well, let's go back to 23 and we'll get a 2nd-rounder in return and hopefully that guy's good. No. If you know Brock Bowers is going to be there at pick number 12 when you're on the clock and you think he's the real deal, don't mess around. Go get a legit starter like that. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's show. I really appreciate everyone for tuning in and taking time out of their day to come hang out with us here at the Broncos Breakdown. We will sign off and catch up with you all later.